This is Saturday Morning Mysteries.
And we're your hosts, Alexis and Grace. Hello, good morning, and welcome back to another episode of Saturday Morning Mysteries, where we're your hosts. I'm Alexis.
I'm Grace.
And Grace is going to tell us her last episode of Animalia today. We've only got one more episode after this of our Animalia arc. But Grace is finishing up her half of the episodes today. And I don't know how to feel about it. Part of me is relieved because I'm starting to kind of get a headache following this. I think we're overdoing it in our, just like the writers of the show overdid every plot line. We are overdoing our wild speculation to the point where I've run out of red yarn. My head hurts. I'm confused. It hurts.
Well, you know what I was thinking about?
I'm tired, Granddad. I'm tired.
I'm tired, Granddad. Well, you know what I was thinking about was like last year when we did like Jabberjaw, which like hurt our heads a lot. It was different in the way that like the creators and like Hanna-Barbera and like Jabberjaw, they were just like, here's the thing, a talking shark, no other rules. Woo!
Exactly.
Like insanity. But this show, they're like, let's make rules that don't really make sense and then add more rules and then add more rules.
Exactly.
And add more rules. So my brain hurts more, I think, during this than it did Jabberjaw, because Jabberjaw, there was no reason to like explain what was happening because that's the way it was written and presented. And so our wild speculation was just like crazy backstory stuff. But like this one, they were like, we're going to give just enough to act like there's reasoning and plot and like, or not plot, but like reasoning behind this world and world building, but we're not going to complete the world building. And so
it hurts because now we're filling in the puzzle. No one expects any answers as to why Jabberjaw is the way he is. I appreciate our wild speculation about that, though. That I think we came to the conclusion that go back to that arc and listen for those who don't know what we're talking about. But we basically concluded that he's like like an agent, like a brainwashed agent who is like a shark now. There's a whole thing going on. Like it was
because
easy
we had the
to come up with that, though.
Exactly.
We had the room, we had the space, we had the freedom. But with this, when you think you have the space and the freedom, the next episode then creates some rule that makes you not able to do that speculation that you did the week before. So then it's like, well, okay, never mind. It's like, do one or the other. Don't make us question anything or answer every question that you raise.
We realize that this is a kid's show, that they didn't think kids were going to be
doesn't matter.
Picking through it. You know what? That's lazy writing. Make it make sense. Okay?
The kids are smarter than you think they are.
Yeah, in this stage. This show was like,
and they may be watching with their parents
too.
Okay. The parents might want to get a little bit of something out of this show too. Okay.
And they're probably confused too.
Anyways, but we love it. Thank you, PBS. You're great, etc., etc. It has been fun. And we're not done covering PBS shows yet, which obviously we've got another episode of Animalia next week, but we will continue with our PBS theme.
We sure shall. So yes, today for my last episode, our second to last episode of Animalia in our arc, I was actually split between doing two different episodes. And the first one I thought about doing like based on the description of it, that I chose not to in the end. I was going to do that one because it was kind of leaning into something in the show that we brought up before, which was like, are these episodes going to be based on books and characters? Like my Iggy episode was, my Don Iguana episode, which I was like, that's fun. We can talk about books. And that episode was going to was similar to, what is it? Like 1001 Nights or Arabian Nights or something like
Arabian
that.
Nights,
Of like, you have to tell the story to the king so he doesn't kill you. And so she does. All that kind of stuff. And I was like, that could be fun. But I decided to do this one because the characters that it involves, hilariously, it's not dissimilar to one of my Kim Possible episodes in a way. And it's, in a way, similar to your episode last week, Alexis.
Oh, no.
Which, like, is very funny because, again, For those who are new to the show, we don't know the episodes each other are doing. This is the first time Alexis is
Mm-hmm.
going to hear about this episode, et cetera, et cetera. Same with her
Mm-hmm.
episode last week. And I was just giggling to myself all last week, Alexis, being like, just wish, just wait.
Just you wait
Just
and
she wait.
see. Oh, I'm
So
excited.
I'm doing season 1, episode 14 today.
Oh, okay.
And
All right.
as usual, we start with the core acting up, as it does every
Mm-hmm.
episode. What if I
Mm-hmm.
was like, that's the connection to your episode last week?
I'd be like,
Let's
I can't stand you.
exactly. I wouldn't blame you. So Rini is complaining about the core freaking out, and Livingston is hooking up a bunch of machinery to the core and like messing with gadgets. And he's like, yes, Rini, I know it's acting up. I know this is an issue. I know I have 1,000 other things on my plate. That's not just the core. Yeah, because remember, he's the government, as he has said in the past.
Government sounds hostile.
Sounds a little hostile, sounds a little stressful to be a dictator king. And
Mm-hmm.
Rini is like, okay, you're like awful testy today.
Yeah.
And he does sigh and like apologize. He's like, I'm sorry, like, I shouldn't have snapped at you. I just have to do everything around here. I'm responsible for everything around here. Every little problem, big problem, everything in between is my responsibility. Like the weight of ruling is on my shoulders. And this like rant of his is like interrupted periodically by one of the animals of Animalia, I think like an elephant, coming in to ask like a stupid question about like, what should I name this new menu item for our restaurant?
Mm.
And
This is what happens when you are the judge,
the
jury, executioner, etc. It's like he is
uh-huh,
the regulation.
yeah,
It's like
this
most people would
health
go to like
inspector,
the
like,
health inspector or like the Department of Business or something to
yeah, yeah,
file
yeah,
any certificates of occupancy, whatever.
yeah,
No, they got to go through good old Livingston T. Lion, Dictator King. This is what
exactly.
happens.
This
This is
is
what you
what I'm
asked for,
doing.
Livingston.
This is
You
what you
led the
asked for.
revolution against Peter Applebottom.
You
Sorry.
did this to yourself
Anyways.
and you got everyone along with you. So now they're just doing what you asked,
Hmm. Exactly.
putting you in charge. Hmm.
Hmm.
Funny how you complain about it now when it's inconvenient. But yes, Rini and Livingston try to like continue their conversation like over this ant, the elephant. And Rini
Yeah.
is like, but Livingston, you like problem solving for everyone. Like you like using your big brain and problem solving. Like that's why you're in this
Yeah,
position. Funny to what you
exactly.
had just said 2 seconds ago.
Yeah.
But the elephant like won't stop like asking like for his opinion on things. And Livingston snaps and looks at the elephant and is like, this meal or whatever it is, like, is absolute rubbish. Like, screams at him. And at this,
Yikes.
Rini, like, yelps from fright and, like, throws all of the books that she was holding in the air. And I thought this was going to be like your previous episode where a book nudges the core and shit gets crazy, but
Hmm.
it doesn't. Livingston is able to actually grab all but one book, like, from falling down from the air. And the last one lands on the ground or like a table and it's open. And it like as it had fallen, I will say it did like hit some of the mechanical devices that Livingston had hooked up to the
Mm.
core.
Yeah.
But Livingston pays no mind to that situation because he is too distracted by what he sees in the book.
Mm.
Because this open book freaks Livingston out. Like he backs away, he like crouches in on himself and he's like mumbling and pointing at the book with a shaking finger. And
Hmm.
Rini is like, oh God, what's happening? What's in the book? And she looks over at the book and it's a drawing of a swamp. And Rini is
Oh,
like, oh, right. Like it's a swamp and what? You're afraid of water, right? You're a cat. That's a cat thing.
cat.
In
Yeah.
it, swamp
Haha.
water. You don't like it?
Mm.
But Livingston is like near panic attack mode. Like he's shaking his head, and we get this like mumbling, grumbling, like stuttering, saying like, no, no, it's swamp
Hmm.
water. And his eyes kind of like start twitching, and he starts to like paw at his ears a bunch and like kind of hit his ears and like the side of his head. And he starts
Oh.
making these like buzzing noises. And he like ekes out the story that when he was a cub, he fell into a swamp and this or like the swamp water, which was full of bugs that started
Oh.
to crawl into his ears.
Oh,
I
wow.
know. I was like,
That took a turn. I
yeah.
knew it was going to get dark, but that's a whole other level that I was not quite prepared for.
Yeah, so like as a cub, he was like attacked by bugs in us, like eaten alive,
Aww.
question mark by it's unclear, but he is fucked up about
Yeah.
swamp water, basically.
Yeah. And he like hears them in his
Yes,
head just
and is
from the
like,
sheer sight of a picture
yes, of the
of a
swamp water. And
swamp.
he's like
Oh, this is
making
really,
the
really
like
bad PTSD.
bug
That's really
noises.
bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, this man is like full like panic attack PTSD mode. I was
That's
like, this is
sad.
actually, it was like somewhat uncomfortable to watch, to be totally honest. I was like,
Yeah. This big,
they
strong lion just
made
like
it
flips.
too
Yeah.
real in this like animation and like his like again like hitting the side of his head, freaking out. So I was
Yeah.
like,
I was
yeah,
gonna
fuck
make
the
a
swamp
joke
water,
about
Livingston.
what was in the swamp that he was looking at the picture of, but now I feel bad.
Yeah, now he answered it. He told us.
Yeah. So now I'm not going to joke about that anymore because it's actually
Yeah,
really
it got
sad.
dark. It was very sad.
Yeah.
But as he's like having this flashback moment, the
Mhm.
core, again, the devices were ripped off of it by that book, is starting to change colors and to rumble. And Rini is like trying to get his attention to like pay attention to the core and hook stuff back up to it. But he's too deep in this like trauma essentially that he isn't prepared when the core, of course, freaks out and it actually shoots two core spores from it so powerfully
Uh-oh.
that it sends like a jolt of energy out from the core itself to the point that it knocks like slams Livingston back like into a wall, which we haven't seen before. We've just seen the core like
Mm-mm.
spew out the spores, but this time like
Yeah. Not
it
like
was
emit energy with
angry.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was angry God that day.
Zoe, but we gotta sacrifice you, girl. I'm sorry. Get
Sorry.
on in here.
You know what? Alex, come on.
Actually, you're right. What am I
Zoe
saying?
keeps things fresh.
Yeah, she does.
Iggy would
Exciting.
never
And
let them sacrifice
exactly. I
Zoe.
was going to say it would be too hard to get past Iggy, but I think Kabubu would be fine doing whatever Iggy wants to do in the end. So sorry,
Exactly.
Alex. Yeah.
You gone. But yes, Livingston like flies back and slams against a bookshelf in the library, and like a
Mm.
bunch of books pile down on top of him. And so, yeah, first of all, I was like, with your episode, I was like, uh-oh, we got more head injuries.
Oh no.
That's like the subplot
And
of
no
this show
doctors.
is head injuries. Put a
I
pin
mean,
in
for
that.
for what we know,
No doctors, put a
pen,
pin in
but
it.
also for what we know, the show is just a massive head injury as far
Exactly,
as
one of the
we
kids.
know. Yeah.
You're right. That's why they keep
So,
dreaming about head injuries. It's because it's their subconscious
they
trying to
know
tell them why they're in the hospital in
that
a coma.
exactly, or like they vaguely hear, like nebulously hear the
Yeah.
doctor in the actual like
We're gonna have to
alive
get another
world
brain
saying
scan
like,
for him.
exactly, Zoe has an unfortunate head injury, head trauma, TBI, like they
Right,
just
they
hear
keep just
these
hearing
words.
it as it's
Yeah.
floating in.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But anyways,
So
continue
yes,
on. My
so
bad.
Rini runs to Livingston and like unburies him from a pile of books. And like, my dude, he looks fully concussed. His like eyes are like a little starry. He's like pretty dazed and he asks like where he is, what happened.
Oh
And
no.
I think he might also be severely concussed or something because he looks at Rini like he's never seen her before and he's like, whoa, what's this horn? And like grabs her horn, which is like very rude, by the way. That's probably like an
Yes,
assault, first and foremost. You don't
that
just go,
might be
go
essay,
do
I think,
things.
in the
Yeah,
context of, yeah, especially, and
exactly.
he's her employer. It's even
Yeah, there's a
worse.
lot of problems. And so he
Really.
grabs and he's like, whoa, how do I get one of these things? This is crazy. And then he's like, whoa, look at all these books. And they're like, like laying on like laying open on the ground. And he's like, they kind of look like birds. And like grabs them and starts like by the spine and starts like flapping them around as if they were birds and making cooing noises and like giggling to himself.
Oh boy.
Uh-huh. Rini, like
Uh-oh.
you, is like, oh boy, okay. And she kind of like backs away slowly and then
I
runs
won't.
to the grapevine phone.
Who do you call? Wait, who do you call when Livingston gets messed up?
Well,
Oh,
I
okay.
thought she was going to call a doctor or an ambulance or something,
Well,
but
yeah, but
instead she calls two children, a gorilla and an iguana.
damn it, that's what I knew it.
Yeah. Yeah, you knew.
I worried it, but yeah. I was like, who do you
But
call
deep
when
down,
Livingston gets injured? Alex, Zoe, Iggy, and Gabooboo, of course.
duh, children, obviously.
Obviously.
So,
Hmm.
yeah, these literal children with definitely no medical background, they do put a move on it and they head over to the library slash town hall to see what's going on. But meanwhile, we head to our actual swamp, not just the picture of a swamp. We head to the swamp in Animalia,
Hmm.
where our
Okay.
swamp queen, Allegra, is checking on the work of her gator gals, aka her besties,
Excellent.
who have
Yeah.
just finished making a bunch of Allegra promo posters. Like, not
Mm.
for anything in specific or like a specific event, just like for her
Because,
on a
yeah,
whole, as a whole. Like, I am
just
convinced
a
Allegra is
leg.
like the in like an influencer. Like, what is your particular skill or thing you're selling? I don't know, but like it's
Yeah.
me. I am the package. It
I
is
am
I,
exactly. I
Allegra.
am the brand. I am the product, you
Yes,
know?
so promote me.
Like, I
Duh.
think she wants to be a singer, but at no point in the show does she come off as a singer or a good one. Like, I
Yeah,
think
or
maybe
like
I've heard her sing once, but it was awful. So I thought she
yeah,
was joking. But, like, yeah, I think
and
she just wants to be
I
famous.
think she just
And
wants celebrity, and that's it.
yeah, but what she misses is that celebrities are usually famous for a skill or a
Yes,
talent. And she's just like, no, if I just put posters of myself, if I put my
it's
name in a
me.
neon sign somewhere, then that makes me
Hello.
famous.
Yes,
Exactly.
exactly. But I will say, for once, I'll give her this credit. She is being
Mhm.
humble in front of her Gator
Oh.
girlies. She's thanking them for making the signs and like saying that they look so good. They did such a good job. And she's saying that she definitely like could have never done such a good job as them. Like the
Mm,
way they printed her name in like cursive or whatever looks so good. And like Allegra
mm.
is like I couldn't have done this. Like I have horrible penmanship. I
Uh,
actually like I don't really write well at all and it's actually low key. It gets like really sad, Alexis. She like hangs her head and she's like, I wish I just would have paid a little more attention in school. And we get like a voiceover flashback of her in school and she's like, I admit I had my chance to pay attention and, study up on my books, but I just always chose the wrong path. And it's like looking between like a pile of books and like sandwiches and she chooses sandwiches.
okay, that's not fair. That's
That's
not a fair.
I would no, I was like, why not have both? I eat and read all the
Yeah,
time.
all
I'm
the
usually
time. I
eating while
love
I
a
or
fucking sandwich with a book. Yeah.
yeah,
Hold
exactly.
on a
It's the perfect
second.
morning.
They should have made it like a microphone or something, or like,
Yes,
I don't know, jewelry
exactly.
or makeup, or I don't know, something,
Yeah,
but
something not that you need to
they're
survive.
basically telling you your choices are between being smart or being malnourished. Or
Yeah.
like,
Choose one. That's
choose
it. That's all you
one.
get. Sorry.
Mm.
But I will say back in the present day swamp, like she like hangs her head in shame about the priorities that she
Aw.
had when she was younger. And yes, laments and wishes that she had paid attention in school instead.
Yeah.
And the girlies like don't really know what to say to this. They're
Yeah,
like,
I'm in shock. This
uh,
is too much.
sorry about that, I guess.
Yeah.
But luckily, this awkward silence is broken when we see the two core spores. And it's kind of interesting, like the core spores this time, it like almost looks like they're like connected as if like by a stem. So it looks like a little plant. So it's like a stem, and then one like
Oh.
core spore is on one side and the other core spore is on the other side.
Oh, like two
So it's like,
leaves.
yeah, exactly. Why? Yeah, I don't know.
Not them introducing entirely new concepts mid-season.
Alexis, Alexis.
And this is just the tip of the iceberg of this new concept, is it not, Grace? I can see it in your eyes. You're about to break some horrible news to me. Bad
We'll
for
get
my
to it.
headache.
That's all I'll say. We'll get to it, okay?
Okay. Okay.
Okay? We'll get there.
I will not attach myself to any concept or any.
This show has made us Buddhists, just non-attachment to anything, to a
Not a thing.
concept, to
Hmm.
an individual, to a
An individual,
thing.
a person, an idea, a
Nothing.
thought,
Just
a plan, a plot, a
yes.
story
Buddhism's much more complicated
structure.
than that, I'm sure, but
Yes.
we're going with we being Buddhists in the show.
This is the Saturday morning, the Saturday morning cartoon version of Buddhism is
Exactly.
just
It's
detach yourself
non-attachment.
from exactly everything that could happen in this story or has happened.
Exactly.
Go in
So,
blind.
going in blind. So, yes, this core spore flower stem thing flies overhead and crashes into the swamp.
Mm.
And Allegra tentatively walks over to it and picks it up. And I assume she thinks it's like a flower of some sort. So she holds it up to her face to sniff it real deep, get that good flower scent in. And
Hmm.
immediately and very relatably to what I was telling Alexis before we started our day of recording, which is my allergies are so bad that I literally thought I was sick last night and had to take NyQuil because I'm allergic to everything where I live. She
Yeah.
starts sneezing like crazy.
Oh God. So this episode is personal for you, Grace.
So this was a personal attack against me
Yeah.
entirely of what allergies can do to you. Okay, it's bad.
Yes. They will ruin a woman.
They will ruin something. They'll ruin someone's life, but I don't know if they'll ruin a woman's life. So
Yeah.
let's find out here. So
Oh,
she
okay.
starts sneezing, and when she finally stops, she like wipes her nose or snout or whatever and says,
Mhm.
"Well, now that is just the weirdest smell I have ever encounterfeited." What? Encounterfeited? No. That's not a word. This is the strangest smell I have ever encountered. Yes, that's correct. That is correct. Encountered. And the Gator gals just stare at each other like, is she having an allergic reaction? Like, is she good?
Do we need to call for help?
Do you have an
Mm.
EpiPen or something for this?
Yeah.
And they're like, Allegra, are you feeling okay? Like, you don't really sound like yourself right now. And Allegra waves them off and she like holds the core spores out in front of her, kind of twisting them. And she begins like pacing back and forth, rubbing her chin deep in thought, muttering along the lines of, now let's unpin what you said earlier, Alexis.
No. Mhm.
Let's see, let's see. I taste some plant growing in the mud, and its nutrients seem to have been absorbed into me. And suddenly, I have more intelligence than I ever knew existed. Interesting, I do say. So,
My pen is still there.
your pin should still be there because we're gonna get back
Okay.
to it.
Gotcha. Okay.
But
But
basically,
related.
something about the pollen, essentially, of this core spore has
Yeah.
given Allegra mass intelligence.
Intelligence.
Yes, she's
Yeah.
suddenly a genius.
And then on the other hand, Livingston.
Yes,
Okay.
is
The
suddenly
inverse is what I'm saying. Yeah.
yes,
Okay. Gotcha.
yes, which is funny. Not exact. I'm gonna tell you right now. It's not Freaky Friday, but funny that in your
Yeah.
last
Okay.
episode you were like, "Is this Freaky Friday?" And it was like,
Yeah.
yes and no. Same thing for here. Yes and no
Great. Okay.
is what's
Awesome. Is it
happening.
Bongobinia? Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, because for a
Who's to
split
say?
second I was thinking like, oh, did they switch? But then the quote that you said there made me think like, okay, it sounds like Livingston, but it's not Livingston.
Yes, their
But it
brains are
sounds like his,
still theirs, but something about this
yeah,
core spore pollen
like their
situation.
intelligence has swapped. Okay. Anyway, I don't know.
We'll
Pins.
we'll
We'll get
talk
to it.
about it, kind of.
Maybe. Will we get
I
to
mean,
it? No. Will it
yeah,
come up?
exactly.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. That for this entire show, entirely. So,
Great.
yes. So Allegra nods, confident in this theory that the pollen has given her intelligence, and she decides that she better hide the spores for their own protection until she can really dive into this experiment. And so they
Okay.
hide it under a bunch of like Allegra posters, put some leaves on top of it and stuff. And until she can totally figure things out in full, she turns to her gator gals and says, "Ladies, I now have a better purpose in life, for there is only one thing for me to do after receiving such a valuable gift as this." And the girlies are like so excited. They're like trying to guess what good deeds she'll do with this great power, guessing that she'll generally give back to society and generally solve great problems, et cetera, et cetera. And
Hmm.
as we now know, Allegra is no dummy. She understands that with great power comes great responsibility, if you
Okay,
will.
Uncle Ben. Yeah.
And so,
Nice.
which is actually such a fun fact that you said that because I was like, where did that quote come from? And yes, Uncle Ben from Spider-Man,
Yeah,
but
Ben
also
Parker.
loosely Voltaire. So I'm going to say she's quoting
Yes,
Voltaire here.
true, true. Then that is where, yeah, yeah. And
So,
it would be appropriate for Allegra of all animals to quote Voltaire.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
something seems right about that
Yes,
in this
it's
moment.
checks.
So I agree. Screw you, Uncle Ben.
Yeah, get out of here. So naturally, she makes a declaration with her newfound intelligence that she will pursue one thing and one thing only with it. She'll dedicate all her energy to it, promoting herself right to the top, baby.
Uh-oh. Oh no.
Which I pause to ask and posit, isn't that what people who do have supreme power and intelligence do, anyways?
In
Many
a
of them.
way.
Maybe they don't
Yeah.
have supreme intelligence,
Although
but
I
they
wouldn't
want
argue that
power.
everyone at the top is of supreme
That's why I
intelligence,
corrected the
though. But
intelligence part.
yeah, yeah. But the supreme power part, yeah, maybe,
Hmm.
maybe.
Hmm.
And
Interesting.
perhaps we're seeing a rerun of what we theorized last week in the
Mm,
Great Revolution, Livingston's
mm,
Revolution. Perhaps this is similar to how it started. Someone had so
interesting.
much intelligence and they needed to take it straight to the top, and
And they
now
thought
they're.
that they should be on top. Want to be on
Mm-hmm.
top.
Na, na, na,
Na, na,
na,
na, na,
na, na, na,
na, na.
na, na, na.
Yes.
Yes. Yet another week. We need a sign. One of us needs a sign with
How
like
many
how
times we
many weeks since
reference?
we last talked about Tyra Banks? 0 weeks since last
I
referencing
mean,
Tyra
in
Banks.
Animalia every week because we got our dear old
Week.
Tyrannicus, but it comes up a
Yes,
lot.
it does.
A
It does.
lot.
Love you,
And I'm not
Tyra.
sorry.
What's up, girl?
Yeah.
Not at all.
So meanwhile, our core force squad have arrived at the library after Reading called them, and things are just as dire as they had been warned on the phone as they would be. Livingston
Hmm.
is like strutting around the library doing like not just like, oh, he's dumb now things, but like this man has never had a shred of intelligence. Like this has reverted to being a toddler. Like he's putting
Mm.
library books on the core fours heads and being like, they're like hats now. He sees a house plant and starts growling at it. He sees his tail and thinks it's a snake and tries to attack his own tail.
Oh God. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes,
It's
clearly
really
something
bad here.
is really wrong. Yeah. Not just like
Yeah.
he's dumb, but like there's nothing.
There's nothing.
Blank
Yeah. It's
slate.
not even that his brain has less power, it's that
It's
there
no.
is no brain.
It's been
Yeah.
unplugged.
Yeah.
Not just turned down, unplugged.
Yay.
So,
Okay.
yes, clearly something is wrong. And the first plan of action is to keep Livingston for the moment away from the core because he's
Mm-hmm.
in no state to touch it, be near it, breathe near it, think he can do anything about it.
Yes.
So Iggy and
Agreed.
Gabubu decide to stay behind at the library to help Rini out. So Rini's going to start messing with the core and looking at it, and Gabubu and Iggy will like kind of help manage the library, aka like the government, um, while Livingston's incapacitated.
Sounds really bad, but okay.
C is for
Doesn't
cover up.
sound like they do not sound exactly. They do not sound qualified to serve in interim roles here. Yeah.
No, no,
This is a good
no.
time for someone to come in and coup this government when it's in utter
It's
shambles.
if only someone would be smart enough to notice.
If only.
If
I guess we'll
only.
see.
Guess we'll see. So yes. Meanwhile, Alex and Zoe will take Livingston out of the library for the time being. And I don't remember exactly if Rini tells them about the core spores being gone, but like they don't have any leads or ideas about how they'd find the core spores anyways right now. So they just kind of head
Yeah.
out with Livingston. Although I'm sitting here being like, take him to the hospital. Like,
Yeah. This man needs help,
you're just gonna walk around with him?
obviously.
These, what if he
Yeah.
goes off? He's a lion. These children can't handle him. Like,
Yeah. Like if you're not going to take him to the hospital, leave him in one place. Do not let
yes,
him roam freely. He's a lion. He's faster than you. He's stronger than you. You
yes.
can't stop him if he
So
runs away.
yes, you have no telling what he's going to do. He's a wild card right now. Okay?
Yeah, right.
Fucking wild card.
He's crazy. He'll do it.
He'll do it.
He'll do it.
And so the kids, as they walk, like very gently start asking him if he remembers anything. But
Hmm.
interesting, again, this is why we know it wasn't a bongo beamnesia situation, because he's
Yeah.
like, oh, yeah, of course, I remember everything. Well, I was in charge of everything, and everyone asked me things all the time, and I always had to do
Oh,
so much work. But now I don't. I can't because, and he like taps the side of his head and goes, it's empty. Nothing going on up here. Nobody home.
so he knows. Okay. Whoa.
I know. So
Well,
he knows that he used to be a genius, and now he's, as he said, empty. No one's
empty.
home. Lights are not on.
Wow.
And
Interesting.
he just starts doing some like backflips and cartwheels and like laying in the grass, and he's like, I feel so free. So he
Oh,
loves being
it's
dumb.
actually, yeah, hey, ignorance is bliss,
With great power comes great responsibility.
Exactly.
Livingston
Like,
knows this.
it's actually kind of sad. It's getting a little sad now because now I'm
Yeah,
sad about regular Livingston. Like, he does
I
not seem
know.
like a happy individual anymore
No.
to me in
I mean, again, that one
comparison.
episode I had where he just admitted he was tired, people were
Hmm.
like, great, so you're retiring? Like,
Awesome.
they took
Great.
advantage
So,
of
hey,
it.
what about those core spores? Go get back to work, buddy.
Yeah,
Chop, chop.
get on
Yeah.
it.
Yikes.
So as Livingston is, doing cartwheels and laying in the grass, Tyrannicus, aka Tyra, walks by. But
Hmm.
he doesn't notice Livingston is acting weird. He doesn't even notice the kids. He's too busy dictating to Fuchsia, saying, I want the posters everywhere across Animalia. Schedule media spots ASAP. We need to get in a photo shoot at the hospital, which, by the way, this episode confirms there is a hospital in
There is.
Animalia.
Okay. Wait a minute. The fuck?
Yeah,
Why are there not more patients there?
I don't know. There is a hospital here, though, in this world. And not once with all these head injuries has anyone been brought to it.
A single time. This is a bad example for children. Just saying, children always take
Exactly.
someone to the hospital or to a doctor
Always.
after a bad head injury,
Any head
after really
injury.
any head injury.
Yes.
Yes. Oy, oy,
So,
oy, oy. Well, it's good to get the confirmation, though, at least from
yeah,
the writers, I guess.
yeah, this the little more world building that then they completely ignore and never take anyone there.
Exactly. Ex- You know what? You're right. I would have rather they never mentioned
Yes. Again, editing. It's important. Edit it out.
it. Oh boy. Okay.
So, yes, I just immediately need to quote that simply because of that hospital
Thank
line
you.
to
Yeah,
confirm
it's come
for
up a
us.
lot
And
recently.
yeah, exactly. But Tyra's interrupted from this dictating to Fuchsia when Livingston sees him and is stunned. He's like, oh, look at your stripes. Hey, stripes. I like your stripes. Can I have some stripes? And yeah,
I feel like that
Tyra,
could be like
it is. Tyra is like,
offensive.
you cannot say that to me. Don't call me
Yeah.
stripes. Which is the same thing when he grabbed Reedie's horn. I was like, this is aggressive. Like this is you don't do that to people. You can't go touch someone's horn. You can't go touch someone's hair. Like, what are you doing?
Like running up to someone and being like, "What's on your face? Like, what's wrong
Yeah.
with your face?"
Why's your
Or, oh,
face like
yikes.
that?
Oh boy. I
Yeah.
don't think
Livingston is not just running around doing microaggressions. He is doing aggressions.
macroaggressions.
Macroaggressions.
Aggressions. Yes.
He's just aggressing right now.
Yeah, he's just aggressive.
Yeah. But yeah,
Very not
Tyra is like
politically
offended by
correct.
this correctly. But
Yeah.
the kids pull up to distract him because they're like, if anyone sees that Livingston is out for the count and is going to take advantage of it, it's Tyrannicus.
Hmm.
Like, distract him right
Yeah.
now. So they're like, what are all these posters you're putting up around town? What you up to, Tyrannicus? And he's like, oh, you haven't heard? Oh, well, maybe if you're lucky, I could get you an autograph if you ask nicely.
Oh
And we
God.
say, as viewers, an autograph for what?
For what? For whom?
For whomst? And we get interrupted by Fuchsia, who's made her way down to the town square and onto a loudspeaker and a stage where she announces Tyrannicus Media Management is proud to present its latest and only client, the
Hmm.
amazing, the outstanding, the one and only Allegra.
Oh, okay.
So they're basically her managers, her
PR
agents.
team.
Yes,
Yeah,
her PR team,
yeah.
all of the above.
Publicists,
Yes, they
yeah.
do it all. And
Great.
to the sounds of cheers from the crowd, because the crowd does start cheering. There's a lot of people out and about. Allegra hits that stage. All of these cameras start going crazy. This bitch
Mm.
just starts voguing. Like, she is
Oh.
like hitting poses, like
Doom, doom,
working
doom,
it.
doom,
Yeah, I
doom,
was like,
doom, doom. Nice
I,
house music playing in the
exactly.
background.
She
Yeah.
like death drops in my mind.
The knees, man. She got knees for days. Wait, so she's not using her genius for like genius.
She
She's
Her
using her
genius was to
genius for the
hire someone to
runway.
do the grunt work for her to get her these media
Facts.
spots.
Hey, she's not wrong.
Mhm.
Yeah.
She's not lifting a finger. That's how smart she
Smart.
is.
She's like,
Hmm.
I don't need my Gator gals to make my posters anymore.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
exactly.
have my
We
publicist do that.
outsource.
Exactly. Hmm.
So eventually she leaves the stage to her adoring fans still screaming her name. Our Ron Burgundy mouse is interviewing her, and he's like, Allegra, like, what do you think's behind your skyrocket to fame? What's next for you? Like, what's your foundation? Like, shooting all these questions off.
Yeah.
She goes, I love this so much because I'm like, this is such a classic, like, stupid celebrity response. She goes,
Hmm.
it's just, it's this city we're in. The city brings out the best in me. This is a city of
Uh,
hopes, of dreams, of struggles, and of triumphs. And I'm just here to give back a song, a few laughs, maybe a teeny bit of wisdom along the way on my
oh my
journey here.
God.
I
Oh my
know.
God.
I was
Ugh,
like,
I
every
want to throw
celebrity
up.
has said this at some point in time.
Yeah, it's like media training 101.
Yeah.
Like everyone is taught that one.
Yeah, exactly. Give it back to
I
the
just
people. It's
I
because
just
of
do it for
them.
the people.
I
Exactly.
wouldn't be here without
I
my
could care
fans.
less. I don't want the awards. I don't want the stardom. I just want to make them happy.
I just
The
want to make
fuck?
them proud. Okay, then why are you
Yeah.
holding this award and saying it?
Yeah, right. In this $1 million dress you're wearing.
Yeah. So she gives a graceful exit to the interview, but runs into Livingston, who's like,
Hmm.
whoa, you were doing an interview. Can I have your autograph? And she notices something is wrong. And
Yeah.
she asks if he's okay. She's like, what is wrong with you? Are you okay? And I don't remember exactly what he says, but he essentially says, like, yeah, everything's great. I'm dumb now.
Okay.
So he has not
Lean
had
into it.
media training,
No,
as we've talked
exactly.
about
Quite the
before.
opposite.
Yes.
Yes.
So Allegra narrows her eyes at this, and like a beat passes. And then she quickly excuses herself, despite the paparazzi all waiting for her and like they trail behind her. And in that look she had given, something like Alex and Zoe notice this look. They like watch her go and they're like, she gave him like a knowing look, as if like she wasn't surprised by this. Like
Mm.
that
She
Livingston's
was
dumb.
like,
Like,
oh, I get it, or something.
yeah, it
Or
was
like,
suddenly
yeah.
like everything makes sense now type of thing. And they're
Hmm.
like, it is pretty weird too that like Tyrannicus is helping her. Like, he doesn't give a shit about her. Like, why all of a sudden is he willing to help and that kind of stuff? And
Hmm.
as they're talking about all of this, they're like, oh, all right, well, we should maybe go report back to Rini to like see if we can find anything else. Also, because they look over at Livingston and they're like, things seem to be getting worse, actually, because
Yeah.
Livingston, as they say this, is actively licking a parking meter because he thinks it's a lollipop.
They have parking meters there. So,
I mean, how's the government going to
okay,
pay for
and
itself?
that's true. That's true.
They got
There are no
bikes.
property taxes in Animalia. It's all based on, yeah,
Yeah,
parking fees and stuff. They have bikes.
apparently.
The warthogs parking their ATVs
Yeah,
there.
exactly. I like some bikes. That's all we've ever seen.
Yeah.
So they head to the library to check in on Rini. Um, And not only are the patrons of the in the library mad because Iggy and Gabooboo, as you said, are not good intermediaries. Gabooboo's just like reading a comic book, like refusing to do anything. And like people come up and ask Iggy a question, and he just goes, I don't know. Next. No one's being helped.
Great.
So now we've
Like,
got
but
like,
someone's here. We're open though, I
we're
guess.
open. You're welcome.
Yeah.
So now we've got like angry crowd energy happening too.
Oh, uh-oh. Uh-oh.
And Rini notices that the core seems to be getting angrier as well. So basically, everything is getting worse, is what's happening here.
With no signs of getting better.
No signs of getting better. So they hop on to one of the computers and start doing research into different aspects of the core and about how some of the core spores work. To which I
Ooh,
say,
okay.
that would have been nice to hear this entire fucking arc.
12
Like,
episodes ago.
there's section, like they're like scrolling through like, the different sections they can click into in this like computer. And it's like, click here to see how the core helps everyone communicate. Click here to see how the core needs to keep everyone calm. Click here to see how parts of the core help define people. Like, we could have done a little printout of this
Would have been
Bible
nice.
at the core, this user
Would have
manual.
been nice. Yeah.
Would have been
You know,
nice.
they could have put it in order instead of being like, now here's, I forget how many episodes of this show there are, like maybe four to
Yeah,
30.
40,
Let's
50.
say there's 30 episodes. I don't
Yeah.
know, 15 per season. They're like, here's 30 puzzle pieces. We'll put the first two down for you. Figure out the other 28 on your
The
own.
other ones are in a computer that you'll never get access to. Okay.
Yeah.
Because Alexis, remember the pin where I said, like, or we were talking about, do things get answered more? Do plots just come up and it just does too much? I don't even remember what we said. But
Yes.
basically,
Yeah. Something
instead
along
of
those lines.
clicking on any of those helpful things to explain this show, they instead
Uh,
learn this insane and totally convoluted new way that core spores can work, which is essentially sometimes the core spores are like flowers. And these flowers, and this is how I'm explaining it, they said it even more confusingly. Like, this is me
okay. So,
trying to
yeah.
translate it.
Translated.
So
Gotcha.
basically, these like flowers have pollen or dust on them. And the pollen or dust can provide what you just gotta wait until I'm done
I
asking your
am. I
questions.
was, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
They have like pollen or dust on them that can provide skills or knowledge. But the catch is that this dust can be transferable. So both the skills, the pollen, can be transferred to someone else, but maybe we can also imbue it with our own skills and then transfer them. Because basically why it's even more confusing to me is like, so when the course wars launched, did dumb dust fall on Livingston and smart dust
Mhm.
fell on Rini? Or like did somehow they imbue the pollen with their own intelligence levels and then it dusted on them?
Yeah, it's like, did Livingston imbue his intelligence into the pollen and it floated off and then sprinkled on to
Right. Or was
Allegra?
like,
But then how did he, because her dust didn't float onto him.
yeah, so maybe the
Like
course were
he,
just like, this was a flower of intelligence and dumbness. And when the course war
one side is
launched,
intelligence, the other side is
yeah,
dumbness of the two.
yeah, maybe when it launched, some of this dumb dust fell on Livingston, which we didn't see,
And
but
the,
an
which
energy wave
exactly,
hit him.
but
But I
I
need it to make
guess we
sense
can
somehow.
imply.
So
Yeah.
I assume it fell down on him. And the smart dust, when Allegra sniffed it, was absorbed into her system. So that's a whole new concept that exists with the core
A
spores.
whole new concept.
And you know what?
Never mind the fact that until this moment, all core spores have been eggs. That's the first thing.
Yes.
So that there is this
Yes.
whole other genre, breed of core spores
Yes.
that are flowers and not
Yes.
eggs is like a whole different thing. And that
Yes.
they quote unquote give skills when some of the egg core spores also apparently give
Give skills.
skills
Yes.
to the animalians, like the ability to tell jokes, I guess, or like the
Right.
ability,
Yeah.
so
So
why do these core spores have to be now, unless Unless
Let's hear it.
these are the different type of core spores that Peter Applebottom and the original inventors of Animalia were trying to use to create a new spore. So it's like a totally different or a new core. So it's like a totally
Oh.
different kind. I don't know. And
Oh.
maybe they're like trying to hide them all into one now because they're like, no, we can't. I don't know. Again,
I
they're
don't
giving
know.
us too much space
Yes, but
to
also putting
theorize
things
on
in the
very
space.
vague, limited rules that they have established that we have
Yes.
to work within the confines of, while
Yeah.
still giving us too much room to like argue and debate within
Right. To
that
be like, but
small,
is it
finite
this?
space.
But then this
Yeah.
one line they said this other episode wouldn't fit that theory. So what about that? And it just spirals
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
and on and on and on
So
and
I
on
hate
and on.
it. Thanks. I hate it.
Thanks, I hate it. So yeah, I don't know. At some point, I was like, this is my last episode. Fuck it. I'm tired of trying to make sense of the core and its spores and the rules and the magic and the Bill of Rights and the religion. Okay,
Oh,
all of
fuck.
it.
I forgot about the Bill of
I
Rights too.
cannot ever forget about the Bill of Rights.
I like very, very briefly did because I'm so distracted now by this leaf
Yes,
core spore.
exactly. This totally different
This
genre
brand,
that at
yeah,
random gives skills, et cetera, et cetera.
yeah,
Because then it also
yeah,
like
and
begs the question of like, okay, so
yeah,
I mean, people can still gain skills and stuff in this life, but is it just all about luck in Animalia? Like,
yeah,
if you get
right,
dusted on by one of these core spores, you can become anything, and it's just a matter of luck. So no free will.
yeah,
What's happening?
right. And who's to say, like, how again, just what? How did the dust, pollen, whatever, only impact Livingston and Rennie when this thing was flying over all of
Right.
Animalia? You know,
It hit no one
or sorry,
else.
not Rennie, Livingston and
Allegra.
Allegra.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Right.
how what I mean, no one else was impacted? And
No one
again,
else
how
was
did he get the
impacted?
dumb one and she got the smart pollen?
Right.
Like
So
how
specific to their
yeah,
opposites, which makes me again
exactly.
say no free will. Did this God choose it? Choose these two?
Exactly. Yeah. Is this all
Interesting.
part of a larger prophecy? This was supposed to
Oh,
happen? Oh God.
perhaps.
Again, they're giving us too much room.
Giving us too much
Guys,
room
they're
and
giving
yet
us
not enough.
not enough at the same
It's like we're
time.
in jail. The jail cell is big, but we're still in jail. You
Exactly. We're
know?
still behind bars. Yeah, we're still
Yes. It can't get out.
restrained, but we have space to move around in within the restraints.
Yes.
But it's like not enough space still.
Yeah, we need to be in the rec yard, not in our cell at the
Yes.
very least.
Yes. It's crazy.
So,
It's crazy up here.
anyways, this is somehow where they confirm, great, we need to go find the core spore and
Mhm.
I don't know, put it back in the core and transfer the skills back. I don't know. I blacked out at this part.
Like I forget where the fuck we are in this episode.
Just blacked
I
out, don't
have
remember a thing.
Bonkobinia, Animalian
Not my
amnesia.
fault. Not my
Yeah.
fault.
Ugh.
So, yes, they are like, we got to go do that. And also, clearly, something happened to Allegra because she's suddenly smart now. So,
Got to
we
figure
got to
that
go.
out too, I guess.
Yeah, we got to go investigate what's going on there.
Ugh.
Meanwhile, we see Allegra doing her press rounds, her press junket here. She's
Mhm.
cutting ribbons. She's visiting hospitals for photo ops. So, like,
There's
she
no
goes
doctors in
to
the
the hospital.
hospital. Yeah.
Hospital just means something different, maybe in
It's just a
Animalia. I
building
don't
where sick
fucking
people
know.
go. There's no one there to
Go
help
die
you.
here. Thank you.
Yeah. Go do that over there.
Over there, we have like the
Yeah.
vultures are the like caretakers of it, like mortuary or morticians.
Just circling overhead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's how they
Just
take care of the
waiting.
bodies.
Uh-huh.
So, yes, she's
Yikes.
shaking hands, kissing babies, taking names, all of the above. And the press loves her. But during one of the photo ops, Fuchsia leans in, because again, this is her PR team, and like
Hmm.
whispers to Allegra, like, ma'am, mademoiselle, we are running late to the next event, and we should be
Hmm.
going soon. We must be going soon. And Allegra spins to her, like spins around to her and shows her teeth a little bit. And she goes,
Hmm.
don't rush me, intern. First of all, yikes.
Yikes.
My intelligence is
Offensive
for,
to fuchsia.
yeah,
Sorry.
exactly. My intelligence is formidable, but my patience with pushiness remains wafer thin.
Mm.
So she's not like being told what to do
Eee.
here. Some might
No.
say some of this fame is going to her head. This power, perhaps,
Perhaps.
going to her head.
Perhaps.
She turns to her gator gals who are with her and she snaps at them too, saying that she won't be able to get back to the swamp to check on those core spores. So they need to get their booties back there to keep an eye on it and keep it safe. So the gator girls go and scurry off. But let me just tell you, this is the beginning of her reign of terror. Like, as she like
Great.
walks away from like this press event, she literally snaps for Tyra to like come up next to her. And she's like,
Oh boy.
"You with the stripes. What's the latest polls say? How are the polls going?"
Oh
And
God.
Tyra like hangs his head at this, like about being bossed around. And he tells her that Alex and Zoe have a 90% approval rating. Like, they're out there like fucking Pew. Like they're out there getting opinion polls on candidates and public figures.
Like Gallop polling. Instead
Yeah.
of Gallop with the U, it's Gallop with an
Gallop.
O.
Raise all
Gallop.
the horses in
Yeah.
Animalia doing like on the streets polling, door to door
Yeah.
data gathering, focus
Exactly.
groups.
Man, honestly, no, no, just real quick, I gotta say that's quite an arc for Alex and Zoe because remember they were being called stink bugs in the first few
Yeah.
episodes and
Now they got
turned
90%.
Animalia into a panic zone, thinking that there were aliens taking
Monsters.
over. Now they got a 90% approval rating.
90%.
That's unheard of in the real human world.
Or
So,
exactly any
hmm,
politician.
yeah, good on
But
them. It's Zoe, let's be real. She is their publicist,
it
so she
would
knows how
be
to
a
spin.
hundred if it was just Zoe.
Yeah,
10%
that's true. Alex is
deduction.
weird though, so you kind
Yeah.
of got to take a few
Takes
points
them
off for
down to a
him. He's
couple.
not easy to talk to, not
Exactly.
charismatic.
So yes, they're out there, yeah, doing their groundwork, grassroots research out here. Um,
Hmm.
which again, is this maybe Allegra making her moves to the top?
Her
She's
push.
trying to
Hmm.
very smartly get the groundwork. She's trying to get the landscape before
Exactly.
she makes her move.
Yeah.
Allegra, she strikes some poses for the cameras as she hears all of this, and very funny. Like Tyra is next to her, and so he just like starts posing for the camera too. But he's like his brow is furrowed, and he just kind of like waves a paw. Like he looks more uncomfortable than I've ever seen him. Like he seems like he is questioning his own ethics right now,
Oh,
especially
oh.
yeah,
That takes
especially
a
as
lot.
she turns to him and like whispers so the cameras can't hear that tomorrow you better start a new media blitz in order to drive the humans out of Animalia. And now
Mm.
get out of my spotlight before I do something. And she pushes him out of the way. So, Allegra,
She's letting it get a little too far here.
a
She's
little
letting
too.
it go a little too much to her head. Too far.
And this is exactly what Tyra and Fuchsia start talking about. They're like, she's getting too powerful. Like this is all going to her head and we're culpable in this. Like we helped with this. We got to take it down from the inside.
They're also going to go down for the crimes. Like,
But they're like,
they're like,
but if we expose her now, we can maybe get an immunity
exactly.
plea
We can get
deal.
a plea bargain. Exactly.
But we got to start now, okay?
Got
Okay.
this. We need safety. They're like guaranteed security. They like go to Rini, like, I need you to guarantee that I will be
I
safe.
can get the evidence, but first I need this in writing.
I need it in writing. You need to protect me, Fuchsia, and our family.
But I
Put us
put a
somewhere
wire
deep
on
in
me.
the
I'm
jungle where
willing.
she won't find us.
Yeah. Give me a treehouse far away from here, okay?
Yeah.
Promise this. So, yes, they nod to each other, and Tyra heads off towards the swamp to do his investigating, and Fuchsia returns to Allegra to wait on the diva and act like everything's fine. Nothing weird's going on here. No.
We're not about to overthrow you in any way at
No, we're
all.
not about
Why
to
would you
rat on
ask?
you. We're
Yeah.
not about to turn you in for our own ass. No way.
As a treasonous warlord that you're becoming.
We have families, Allegra. We have families.
Please think
You cared
about
about
them.
anyone but yourself, you'd understand.
Uh,
So it's not long though until Allegra realizes that Tyra is gone. And she starts snapping at Fuchsia, who is like trying to stall and trying to cover for him and trying to lie. But Allegra is like not believing Fuchsia shit. And as this happens, the Gator gals run back to Allegra and tell her that not only, because they made it all the way back to the swamp, that not only did they see the humans in her swamp, but they saw
mm-hmm.
or that they saw humans and Livingston, and they saw Tyra headed that way too.
Oh.
And Allegra is pissed, obviously. She's like,
Mm,
we gotta go back to my swamp. And the girls are like, but they're already there. How are we gonna get there? And she's like, by the power of celebrity. And she gets the
mm.
zebras who have the Zeppelin to give them a ride,
Yeah.
fast track ride to the swamp.
Yeah.
And as they fly away, Fuchsia calls Tyra and basically is like, you better move fast. Like, get that evidence and get out. She's on
Mm-hmm.
her way.
Yeah.
So, at the
Yikes.
swamp, Alex and Zoe are looking around everywhere. But mind you, Livingston is here too at this swamp.
Oh,
And
no.
yeah, we've been so far since the episode of him earlier today, of like, or him having an episode earlier.
Yeah.
He is terrified at this swamp water and thus the bugs
Yeah.
everywhere. And like, I'm not gonna lie, the next little bit of Alex and Zoe are like maybe the worst they've ever been. They're not great characters in this episode. Zoe is like, oh, just get over it, like exposure therapy, and she pushes him into the water.
Oh, that's not how you do it. Oh no,
Not how
that's
you
not
do
how
it,
you do it,
girly.
especially not with the big lion that I
No, mm-mm,
imagine would not. Okay. Yikes.
no. Yeah, so this is the worst Zoe's ever been, I would say. And
Mm-hmm.
Livingston is able to scurry out of the swamp water and he climbs right up a tree and refuses to come down, which is
Mm-hmm.
understandable.
Yeah,
But the
sadly.
kids keep sneaking around the swamp, trying to find some clues and the core spores. And as they creep around, they do spot the pile of Allegra posters that were like up in a strange stack with some leaves upon them. And
Mm.
they rifle through them, and yes, they do find the core spore flower thing.
Yeah.
But they don't really have a long time to act because arrives just then. And she starts snapping at them and yelling at them to drop those spores.
Mm.
And Alex and Zoe start running. And just as Zoe, we just saw have her worst moment for her character, Alex now has his. As
Mm.
he's running, they're running together atop a log. And Alex absolutely eats shit on it. And the core spores just yeet right out of his hands
Oh, God.
as he falls. He didn't hang on to him one bit. Not even try. Didn't even try to.
God, tie your shoes, bro. What are you doing?
Do better. Work out. Go for a run
I
once in a while.
assume. Yeah, right. Work out those calf muscles. Why are you tripping? What are you tripping
Do
on? What are you
something.
doing?
At least hang on to
Yeah,
him if you're
just
gonna fall. If you're gonna eat it,
yeah. Right? Like
grip onto those
cradle
core
that
spores.
shit. Yeah. Ugh.
So the core spores land right in the swamp water. And the gator gals who had trailed Allegra both jump right in because they're gators. So
They're
what does it matter?
gators.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to grab the core spores. And as they hold it up, Livingston, who's still in the tree, sees this, sees his friend Alex down for the count. Zoe's over there trying to help him up. And Livingston, with his eyes fully closed, gets brave and just throws himself into the swamp water at the gator gals, which, like,
Yeah.
can you imagine? Like, you're just in a swamp picking a little flower, and then suddenly a lion falls on top of you. A whole ass lion.
A lion falls on top of like three other gators
Yeah.
and
Just full force.
no, there's
I
so
can't
many
and I won't
questions like
imagine.
why is a lion here? Yeah, I cannot and I will not. So there's that.
So thank you for
Except
asking.
now I am imagining and it just gets more ridiculous the
It's
more you
bad.
think about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
So
thanks.
Yes, he throws himself into the swamp and he's able to get the core spores out of the gator girl's hands and like run out of the water itself. And he holds
Hmm.
up the spore flowers in victory, which is stupid because Allegra obviously just snatches them right from his dumb paw
Oh,
because he's just
yeah.
holding it out into the air and she grabs them. So, absolutely sick of this shit. Allegra decides, I'm gonna make sure that y'all, no one can get these core spores but me. She decides she's gonna eat the core spores, which I don't know what that means for the dumb part of the core spore, but she's really smart, so I guess if they're in her,
She's
they
thought it
won't.
through.
Yeah, she's thought it through. They won't get them back. And it also just made me think of a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago when I sent you that article, I think, about the man who ate a bunch of the jewelry in Tiffany's. Because he
When
was
he
like,
stole it.
he like swallowed like $800,000 worth of jewelry. And he was like, what are you going to
Yeah.
do about it? And they're like, we're going to wait until
We're
you
gonna
poop it
wait until
out.
you poop.
And then they
Yeah.
did. That's all they literally just waited and got it all
Yeah.
back.
Just like sit with them in a cell for a while. And he's like, oh shit, I gotta go. All right, let's go. Let's get it.
Yeah,
Gloves on, everybody.
let's do
Which
this.
also like sucks because like that's way more painful of an experience for him than it is for them. Like they just get to
Yeah,
wait around. You have
yeah.
to shit out jewel.
Jewelry, like a diamond necklace. That's
Yeah.
got to cut your
Yeah.
insides up for sure.
Everything. You're everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, anyways,
Ugh.
Allegra has thought this through,
Yes.
though. I don't
On
know.
point.
Gator digestion's maybe different than humans
Well,
eating diamonds.
yes, true. And it then makes just like as a larger question with this whole show, it does make you wonder, well, what would happen when someone or something ate a core spore?
Yeah.
Like,
Like, is
I
she
don't
going
know,
to become a god?
my yeah, right. And my mind just thinks like they'll explode. I don't know, because what if it just tries to erupt out of you like it
Right.
does the core? Or
Yeah.
like something bad's got to happen. Are those things radioactive? Are those things, I
Right.
don't
Is this
know, it can't be.
safe? Yeah,
Yeah, is it
none of
gonna
this
like
can
give
be
you
safe.
like the highest amount of the power that that spore provides? Like if it's like the joke spore or
Right. You're the
whatever, are you
funniest person
like
on earth.
a million times funnier than ever? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
what happens? Yeah.
well,
Maybe we'll
Allegra's
find
thought
out.
it through and she thinks high risk, high reward, you know? That's the type
Yeah,
of lifestyle
exactly.
she's going to lead.
Fair.
So she holds those core spores right above her mouth to eat them. And right as she's dangling them above her open maw right there, we hear a swoosh from above as we see a creature swinging from a vine at full speed towards them. We, on the ground, Livingston, Alex, Zoe are all gasping at this, but on the vine, swinging full speed at Allegra, it's not Gabubu, as we usually think is on a vine swinging around.
Yeah.
We hear first, I can't believe I'm about to do this to a paying client. And we see
Wow.
Tyrannicus, Tyra, on a vine swooping down, and he grabs those core
Mm,
spores right out of Allegra's hands, like right as she was dropping them into her mouth to eat them. And he
hmm.
snatches them mid-air and lands right in front of Alex and Zoe, and he gives them back to the two of them.
Wow. Wow. Talk about character development.
He says, a very smart Livingston bothers me less than a very smart Allegra.
Mm,
So it's the
wow.
lesser of two evils.
Ultimate
Which one would you
burn.
rather have as
The
a
devil you
dictator?
know.
Yeah, exactly.
The dictator you
The
know.
dictator, you know.
Hmm.
So they all head back to the library. Allegra is hot on their heels. They get back to the core, they break the spores open still. And before they return to the core, we see the spores, like some of like the pollen flies out and it swirls around Allegra and Livingston. It, another head injury, like knocks them both back for a second
Oh, jeez.
and then flies back to the core. But when they get back up, they both kind of like shake their head and are themselves again, even though they never switched, but like they're back to normal intelligence.
The
Like
normal levels,
level.
yeah.
Yeah. Livingston runs over to the core and starts plugging everything back in that had fallen off of it, and the core calms down. And he's relieved that it works. Now he's back to himself and he's happy to have this
Hmm.
responsibility again.
Yeah.
Iconically, Allegra
Ah,
she shrugs it off. She knows she's fabulous still. But
She's like, I didn't lose much.
I still got my looks. That's most important to me. I'm still fabulous. But that
Yeah.
night, we head back to her swamp where we see her gator gals hauling in piles and piles and piles of books to her queen, who's stretched out and she is studying, saying, if that's what being smart feels like, well, I want seconds.
All right, let's go, Allegra.
No, and that's the end.
Okay.
I know,
That's the end.
self-improvement queen.
Let's go. Yes, let's glamorize and let's make it look more cool to be smart and to be
Yeah,
well read and learned.
exactly.
Yeah, and
And
pedantic, if
and
you will.
pedantic, if you shall.
If you
Shallow
shall,
and pedantic.
shallow and
She is
pedantic.
shallow. So yes,
Very.
perfect.
Working on the pedantic part. Incredible.
Exactly.
Wow.
So
And
that's the
so
end.
like they don't forget what happened while they were
No.
in there.
And they
Okay,
knew what they
so
were
no
before too.
amnesia. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. You did say Livingston was fully aware that
Yeah.
like it was the spore or something caused him to lose
Yeah.
intelligence.
Yeah. And that's
Wow.
why she's like, I want to get back to that. That felt good.
She's like, I'll do it the right way this
Yeah, I'll
time.
work for it this time around.
Which also terrifying because she is now studying to be a dictator.
Yep.
Like she's actually going to
Exactly.
read stuff on how to do it rather than
Yes.
just being blindly like, oh
This
yeah,
is
I'll run in here and do my thing. Like
becoming
she will
like
actually
a
be effective,
Yes,
which
this
is
is
bad.
becoming like a brain race, basically, like a arms
Yeah.
race, space race style between like the
Yes.
current regime, Allegra, and then in my like third series or third season of this show, it's what side does Tyra pick? And like
Hmm.
Tyra is the main focus of my rewrite
Exactly.
of the a season that never
Tyra
existed.
Tyra is the one actually pulling all the strings and is like
Mm,
re-maneuvering his plan every time something happens to be like,
yes.
okay, I wasn't expecting that, but I still need to be the one on top. So
Yes, he's
like
like,
now
they're
I
gonna
will
destroy
switch and
each
be
other, which will give me
exactly
the
me the
opportunity
power.
to
Exactly.
enter.
Yeah.
Same.
Like a true puppet master.
He
Hmm.
truly is.
He really
So,
is.
yeah. So
Hmm.
as well,
Great
I chose
job.
this episode because it was Allegra
Incredible.
focused. This episode's called Brain Drain, which I liked.
Oh,
Um,
appropriate.
yes,
Nice. Nice. At least
exactly.
for one of them. Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Wow.
exactly.
Rip
So
Livingston.
we in
Incredible.
classic Animalia, in our second to last episode, we got entire new concepts that were introduced and never fully
Yeah.
understood and probably never talked
Hmm.
about again.
Never
And
talked about again.
I
Not
would
on
say
this
that works.
podcast, at least, but probably also not on the show or in the actual
Exactly.
show. So it's,
Precisely.
it's only appropriate. It's only right that we
Yeah.
continue
Only makes
confusing
sense.
ourselves in our second to last episode, that we continue opening new cans of
Yes.
worms and theories and wild
Yes.
speculation in our second to last
Last
episode of this
episode.
show. And who knows, maybe in my episode next week, we will totally change every other thing that we've thought of
Probably.
so far
And we'll
in
be
this
like,
past
we didn't
seven
even know
weeks.
this
And
can of worms was here to even open. And
who
yet here
knew?
we are. Can opener
And
in
the
hand.
yes, as I said, the writers will force us to open it without a can opener,
Yeah.
actually,
We're just been
knowing them.
stabbing it
But
with a shank because we're in jail
yeah,
in our
they give
cells.
a, they gave us a spoon to open this can of worms.
We've been
Great.
sharpening that spoon, and
Get
yet
on
still
it.
keeps getting dull
Hmm.
every episode.
Every episode, every
Yep.
week. Wow.
Yep.
Great job.
So thank
Great
you.
job.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Yes, it's very fun. So between now and next week for your last Animalia episode, who should our listeners and viewers tell about this show?
This week you should tell a publicist, a
Oh,
PR team.
nice. Nice.
Hmm. Let them know.
Yep.
Ask them if Tyra did a good job. It's really Fuchsia who does the work, we know,
Yes,
but
we
just
know, we know.
see, is this how it really goes? To me, it seems like it would be.
Yes. What's it like
So,
working with divas like Allegra?
like
Give us the
Allegra,
insider
yes,
scoop.
or with idiots like Livingston in this
Yeah.
episode.
They have to work with both for sure.
They gotta take the money. Yeah, as long as
Yeah,
you're a paying
money's money.
client, they'll take the money. So
Yep.
who else should they tell?
I think after that, you should tell someone who is an intern. Tell an intern.
Mm.
Your intern, another intern, any of it works. Let
Yeah.
them know they're probably, doing some data entry they don't care about. They just want to put this on their resume.
Mhm.
They need something to listen to while they work
Yeah,
away. And
exactly.
let them know.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Working those spreadsheets.
exactly. Well,
Incredible.
until next week, we'll
Until
see you
next
then.
week.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in to Saturday Morning Mysteries.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share, rate, review, leave us a like, and drop a comment. We post episodes every Saturday and bonus tune tangents whenever we feel like it. So please subscribe so you don't miss the shenanigans.
And if you want to follow us on YouTube, click the bell under the YouTube subscribe button to receive notifications when new videos are posted.
And if you want to subscribe to the podcast, we have no idea what you're listening to us on, so just hit the big subscribe button on whatever app you're using. We believe in you.
Give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at SatmornMist, all the abreves, and let us know if you have any episode or show requests by emailing SaturdayMorningMysteries@gmail.com.
Thanks to Jenna Kendall for the logo design and to Ava Sakiki for the music used during this week's episode.
See y'all groovy kids next week on Saturday Morning Mysteries.